Welcome to Season 3 of Malevolent Autopsy. I'm your host, Queen. I use she, her pronouns, and I am so excited to be here with you all. Now, let me warn you, the show contains major spoilers for everything in Malevolent as of the day this episode is published, so if you're not caught up, I'm not liable. Before we get started tonight, I'd like to ask my lovely co-host, what part of Arthur's body are you betting on getting injured this week?
Howdy, hello, I'm Vol Control, he, him pronouns, and do I get partial credit for my bet last week for Arthur's eyes getting injured? Because it seems like John sort of got compelled and looking into the light ended up injuring Arthur.
Let me ask Joy, hold on. Sweetie, are we going to give him partial credit? Yeah, she says okay.
Oh, nice. Well, I hope to get better than partial credit this week. This week, I'm betting on Arthur's lungs.
Ooh.
After all, a certain someone didn't seem to have too much faith in his new gear working.
Oh.
Speaking of his new gear, let's review what happened in this week's chapter, the final chapter of the first full part of Season 6, Chapter 265. Remaining frozen in the light of the lantern-headed creature didn't save Arthur from injury, but it did get us a fucking sick description of this twisted metal creature that beams with the light of 1,000 tortured souls. I'd say that's a win. Arthur ends up with a little sunburn, but the creature passes without incident. Still, best not to hang around. Oops, Arthur has already fallen into a hole. But seeing as a trench filled with all manner of unmentionable liquids is about as safe a place as any in the dark world, Arthur and John settle in for a chat about John's crimes. But before John can explain why he kept his dark secret so close, they're interrupted by someone hunting them. They flee and find their way into a bunker where John decides the best course of action is to lie in wait and try to grab the gun. Oh boy. But in the tussle that ensues, John has the bright idea to use the lighter because he recognizes the face of this soldier. It's Frederick, Marie's son. Marie's in the dark world now, sorry. Frederick's mind is cleared by the hopeful flame. He has no hope of leaving this place, however, but he will help Arthur in his quest. He helps him find clothes, gives him a gas mask, and warns him of the blight beyond and the doll maker. He wishes them luck and says they're going to need it.
This chapter was 18 minutes long.
It was so long. That was as short as I could possibly make the summary.
I was like, wow, that's a really long summary in the document. And then I went, oh my God, that's right, because this is all one continuous chapter.
Yeah.
You did a great job.
But I think that was almost like bound to happen at the end of the first episode of Season 6. Because there's so much like world building and tone setting, and then Harlan wanted this incredible encounter to happen at the end, so I'm glad that he gave this scene with Frederick specifically the like time and space to breathe and for us to like sit in it.
Yeah, and like honestly, who's gonna complain about a longer chapter or a longer part in the last season of their favorite show?
Yeah, I saw someone joking on the server that the last episode of Season 6 is actually going to be a 10-parter, so we get a whole nother season.
God, honest to God, I wish, like, I don't even want to think about that. This is only the first episode of Season 6. I'm not going to get sad about Malevolent ending.
No. We can get in our feelings about Frederick because that was not on my bingo card.
No, I don't know if anyone is going to be... I would genuinely want to see proof if anybody had predicted that. Because there's just no way.
And, like, I don't get easily choked up with Malevolent all that much. Like, I feel the really strong, like, emotional response, but I don't feel, like, genuinely weepy. Oh my god, the scene with Frederick made me, like, genuinely emotional, both the first time I listened to it and when I listened to it earlier today.
I wish Rose was here because, you know, we're going to have Rose on a bunch more this season of Autopsy, because this episode of Malevolent and the last, I mean, and Da Capo, and then like 52, I guess, the last three big parts that we've had has really made me acknowledge, appreciate, and become conscious of what a deep impact music has on my emotional response to media. Like, when Fatherhood kicked in, I was ruined.
Oh my god.
Gone.
Yep.
Like, I genuinely don't know if this material would have made me tear up had it not been for the addition of the music, because not only was it perfect, like, as a piece to go with this moment, it also has the benefit of being a song we've heard before in other deeply emotional moments that we know the title of, and like all of those significant elements. And now that Harlan has built this back catalog of music that we already have emotional responses and connections to, things land so much harder when they come back. I feel like unlike, I know he talked about this in his interview, the most recent one, unlike with the Nightwear where he was like, oh, I realized you can't do that twice, I think music works the opposite way, where I really feel like the more, I mean, not overusing it, but
listen, emotional context equals emotional damage. That's it. That's the equation.
I mean, the music is just, it's such a beautiful part of Malevolent to begin with, but once you have really charged a piece with emotional energy for so long, every time you bring it out after that, it's just like another gut punch, another layer. It's so good.
I'd also be interested, I don't know how much Rose knows about sort of like the ambient soundscaping that's going on in the dark world. Like, the sound effect that I thought was the lantern creature's footsteps, or like some other creature's footsteps, that like boom,
yes,
that like rhythmic sound, I'm realizing now, no, I think that is dark world ambience. It's part of all of the creepy, weird, jangly noises. And I remembered the band that I mentioned last episode that the dark world ambience reminds me of. It's Converter. It's electronic noise music, and if you don't like aggressive electronic noise, you probably won't like it. But unlike some other bands in that genre, this is rhythmic. It's not Merzbow. It's a little, it's you could dance to it.
I love that. I want to shout out this really well worded comment from Pan in the chat. Well, because parentage is very important to Malevolent's story, but we've always heard about it from the parents, not the children. Arthur, Daniel, Marie, even Cain. Frederick was the first time we got to see that. And I didn't even consider that angle, but it's true. This is really the first time we've gotten not only the child's perspective and their emotions and feeling about this, but also we have both sides of context, because we don't really even have that with Lilith and Cain, and we don't have that with Bella and Daniel, and we don't have that with Arthur and Farrow. We now have both pieces of a very painful puzzle, and
oh my god, that's so good.
It's incredibly good. I'm very, very excited. I know that I want to mention here, there are always people, there have been, ever since Arthur brought it up in like season 2 of Malevolent, people have been like, oh, what if Farrow is in the dark world? And then the response to that from usually like people who are really invested in the lore or just have a really good memory of what's been said about the dark world will come back with, well, probably not, because it seems like a bad place, and it seems like that would be really cruel and senseless to put a literal child in the dark world. I am starting to wonder if there are not alternate states that you can be in the dark world. Like, we're talking about the fact that Arthur was safer when he was quote unquote dead, and people were trying to keep him dead and things like that. And I'm wondering if there is a way for Furrow to be there without being in the torment of this place, I guess. I'm not banking on it. I don't think that's going to be a thing. What I do think is interesting to note is that Arthur keeps thinking about it and bringing it up. I don't think anything he's heard so far has discouraged him from feeling that way, from having that concern. And that makes me wonder how it's going to be relevant going forward, because we're also, well, at least me and the circle I run in is also sure that Furrow's not here. So why is it still coming up? And that makes me nervous.
The only thing that I am now thinking about is what is Furrow's darkest hang-up that she's caught in a loop in the dark world. And I'm not saying this to be sad. I'm saying this to be funny, because I'm trying to think of what like terrible crimes did a child commit that they're now doing over and over again in the dark world. Like how Frederick's stuck in the war, you know?
Furrow is stuck in a moment where she got caught taking a cookie.
Scribbling on the walls. Seer of Time
it's
says.
The guilt. Yeah.
I was thinking like shin kicking, biting, you know, like little kid stuff where they're violent. Okay, I'm sorry.
God. The other thing that, I mean, I know we're going to go over our carrots and sticks in a minute, but the other thing I want to note is the way that the chapter... Wait,
what if Furrow is the doll maker? Okay, enough.
I feel like that's gonna be equivalent. That's gonna be equivalent to Kinder Egg Antoine.
Yeah, right.
Where I'm like, aha, how fucking ridiculous, and then I'm gonna look back here in like 2 months, and someone's gonna have like a fully drawn out theory about it. So the other thing I want to point out is the way that this part as a whole has been put together, and how it really, it's not quite every minute full of something happening, but because it did start to feel like back in season 1 and 2, and even a little bit of 4, where we had these long sprints of action followed by small strolls of conversation and progress and like thought and strategy. And I have to say, that's like my favorite Malevolent. I love the constant action-packed stuff, and I also love the really long episodes where, I mean, and there are very few of these, but the long episodes where they don't really do any hard action sequences. But I really like the quick, slow Malevolent the best. And so I loved the pacing of this one.
Yeah, it's definitely the pacing of early season, I feel like.
Yeah, definitely. What was your stick this week, Vol?
So my major stick is the fucking doll maker. Hello? Harvesting hair from fields and eyes from trees. Excuse me? What the fuck? And all of that is to say, I cannot fucking wait.
Yeah. I thought, I mean, because it's me and I sometimes struggle to figure out if I should be taking things literally or metaphorically, I was like, maybe this is just gonna be a hippie. Maybe this is just somebody who's like weaving flower crowns and they're using the grass and like, I don't know.
Well, actually, I mean, so harvesting hair from fields could be, some kind of like plant life to be used as like some sort of detailing on like a literal doll. And eyes from trees could just be talking about like harvesting the eyes that sometimes form in trees from the trees. Yeah, it's totally innocent and innocuous. They're literally just a doll maker.
It's just figurative language. It's not a big deal.
But also, the other thing that I've seen some other people bring up that I also am really excited about with the doll maker is that we are sort of getting that Monster of the Week vibe that Harlan talked about. He had tried to kind of do with Horg in season 5, but it ended up like latching on a little too much. And so he had mentioned that I think he'd mentioned that he was excited to have season 6 be a little bit more of that return to the season 2 with the Dreamlands vibe, where he can have these like, you know, the rat catcher and the doll maker and, you know, these sort of like passing monster of the week characters.
Yeah, I definitely don't feel like the doll maker is going to be the new villain or anything. I don't feel like that's a title you give to a character that is going to play a heavy focus role, more like a short monster of the week type. So I totally agree. I'm very excited for that too. I also just really like, I don't know, I've always thought the trope of the villain that is a puppeteer or, you know, the iconography of ball-jointed dolls and marionettes and things like that has been very cool. So I am really excited to see what doll maker means.
Yeah, me too. I also have one tiny stick, one little branch. Are we gonna have to listen to Arthur breathe in the gas mask the entire time he wears it?
As the chapter ended with Arthur doing that Darth Vader ass voice, I was like, okay, Harlan, I will go anywhere you follow, I promise. But also, tell me you're gonna have a way around this. Tell me I don't have to listen to this all season. I don't know if I can do it. What was your carrot, though?
My carrot this week, I am torn between John's, like, sick fucking description of the lantern-headed creatures and the way that he says that this, like, terrible light is beautiful with this, like, awe, as if he's looking at a piece of art in his voice. Yeah. Oh, I thought that was so good. And that was like the opening of the episode, and I was just like eyes wide, just, you know, locked in.
Yeah, I have to say that was the thing I latched onto the most immediately after the episode was over. I was sniffling and upset, but I remember when I was live blocking it, I was like, what do you fucking mean beautiful? What are you talking about, John?
Yeah.
And I really feel like that's a sign of John having some thoughts and memories and feelings about things.
Yeah, totally. And I was kind of surprised that it didn't, like, quote unquote, like, turn John evil. Like, he found this horrible thing beautiful, but he was still present. Like I mentioned earlier, he kind of seemed like he was being compelled, but it was more like he was, like, awestruck.
That's because this motherfucker is still a fragment of the King in Yellow who was uniquely equipped to deal with the shit that is here, and he even says it back in, I think it was part 2, where he's like your mortal mind can't fucking handle it, but I'm a god and I can perceive every awful thing that's happening, and that makes me able to stay sane in this place. And so I totally think that, unfortunately, this is my prediction here is going to be that John is going to have to tap into some of those parts of himself that he does not want to in order to get through this with Arthur.
Fuck yes. I am here for that. I'm excited about that.
Me too.
But the other thing that was really high up there for my carrot this week was John being the one to have the revelation to try and use the lighter to clear Frederick's mind.
Yeah.
And there are some really great voice submissions from listeners that we'll get into later where we can elaborate more on feelings around that.
Yeah. Oh my god. I'm so excited. This is such a good part.
So Queen, what was your stick this week?
My stick can be summed up in a quote. It wasn't only these things I did here, Arthur. I want to explain something to you. I don't know how, but... Like, that shit, when it drops, is gonna rip me into shreds. That is going to make my stomach turn. It's gonna make me freak the fuck out. I can feel it. I have goosebumps talking about it. Like, the haunted and complicated tone of John's voice tells me whatever is behind that is fucked up in a way that none of us have predicted yet.
Wait.
I
cannot fucking wait.
I don't think there is a chance in hell that anybody in this fandom has predicted what it is that is behind that quote, and I don't think anyone's going to. Just because the way it was said, it's more nuanced than something fucked up. And that makes me more scared than anything.
Well, and actually you make a good point, because it is this really, really like crucial, exciting, much anticipated reveal. And a lot of times when it comes to stuff like that, the fandom may have latched on to a couple popular theories, but then Harlan's gonna do this secret third thing, and we're all gonna lose our fucking minds.
Yeah, for sure. I also just want to point out a fucking hilarious quote from Fish in the large server where he says, "Here's where we learn about John's Bitcoin farming."
Yeah.
It's very good.
I also, before the show even started, AK Trash Panda was talking about their bingo card and about this conversation that John and Arthur almost have, and they were like, yeah, I crossed off a square on my bingo card and I was mad about it, and I was like, what did your square say? And they said, heartfelt conversation, inconvenient time.
You know what? If I had to sum up Malevolent in the funniest way possible, in like the whole of Malevolent, it would be that. That's what it would be. Heartfelt conversation, inconvenient time.
Inconvenient time. That's so funny.
Like,
can we put that on a t-shirt?
Oh my god, yes. I will make a t-shirt with that on it. Who said that?
That was AK Trash Panda.
Okay, I need to attribute the quote, so I needed to remember. I also want to propose here and now, and I'm saying it out loud so that both the chat and Vol can remind me. I think at the end of this episode of Autopsy, we need to do like a rapid fire prediction of what you think John did, because I think a lot of people are going to have really good / funny predictions, and I want to get them out there into the archives because I think they're all really interesting. I just read one from Autumn that I don't want to read out loud yet. I want to save it because I know that will just lead to us talking about possibilities, but I want to make sure we find time to talk about that.
Yes, and we need to have time to talk about your carrot for this week.
Oh, yes. Okay. My carrot was something I've talked about before, and I don't feel...
Every week since season 6 started, I think.
I think so. But, like, I don't know. I got the most magical version of the feeling at the end of this part. So, I know I've said the possibilities are truly endless because this is, like, completely Harlan's playing field now. No rules, no limits. No right, no wrong, no rules for me. I'm free. But, like... this Frederick being a part of this episode really drove that home. Even though I already knew it, it really made me go, oh my god, no, it's beyond what I have conceived of. Like, it is totally beyond, like, even with the nightmare, when I'm like, oh, it's one of my favorite episodes because Harlan got to do whatever he wanted. No, Harlan was still limited by the constructs of Arthur's brain. He was limited to what Arthur would think, what Arthur would do.
Yeah.
He was limited to what the mortal mind could really whip up in its own head.
Yeah, that's a very good point.
But Harlan doesn't have to do anything anymore. There's no, like, oh, that's not possible. You can't do that. Lovecraftian mythos wouldn't do this. There's none of that. Right. It's God. And I'm just so, with Frederick coming up in this way, it made me go, like, no character, named or unnamed, is off limits, and nothing that I have thought, like there's no, okay, for example, when I said, oh, Charlie's alive, so we're not going to see him in the dark world. Absolutely not. There's no... That's
out the window. Who fucking knows?
There's nothing stopping Harlan from bringing in fucking Marie. Like, there's just nothing holding him back, and that is...
Okay, listen. This is how... the OG Noel Finley can
Oh my god.
Yeah. I'm becoming an OG Noel Finley truther.
Oh my god.
It's happening.
I'm very excited. So, like, that feeling really swelled back up when I realized that who it was, because I didn't recognize the name Frederick at all. I could not have told you that in trivia. I don't know if I've ever even read it on the wiki. I just don't remember that. And so,
well, even Arthur didn't remember. He was like, Frederick? Who the fuck's Frederick, John?
Yeah. Well, I also think it's really interesting because I was saying, like, at first when John was like saying hold up the lighter, my brain was rumbling with the possibilities of who this could be, because I thought it was going to be, I think I said this at the end of last episode of Autopsy, I thought it was going to be somebody that John had a relationship with in the dark world.
Oh, right.
Like a foot soldier or something. But people were like, oh, but John recognized him, and like, it couldn't have been, I don't know, XYZ, because John wouldn't have known him. And I'm like, no, because for me, it was all about the fact that, I mean, we never met Frederick. John just saw a picture of him.
Right.
Like twice, maybe?
Yeah, Luna in the chat is trying to at me and say we never even met the real Noel. Yeah, we didn't meet Frederick. We saw a picture of him.
Yeah.
But we do know Noel Finley's name. So if a person walks up to us and we, wave the lighter in front of their face and get them calm, and they say, I'm Noel Finley...
Or, I mean, it could also have been a simple... John's explanation for why he chose to try and use the lighter could have truly been anything. I would have bought his... I thought maybe it would, like, fix his eyes, because his eyes looked fucked up. I would have bought, like, something about... I don't know, it was just instinct. Or, like, I literally... It didn't need to be that he was recognizable, is my point.
Exactly,
It could have been anything.
Totally.
And so I wonder how much we're going to end up relying on John to tell us who's capable of being saved and who people really are. And then, is John going to tell us the truth about everyone we meet? If we don't recognize a voice, are we going to trust John to tell us who's really in front of us right now? Because that is something that I've never really had to question until I started listening back to, like, the commentaries, and I was thinking, like, I really just bought that John killed Parker, that was fact, when I had no proof of that. And so now I'm thinking, what if we come face to face with a fucked up version of somebody that we know, and John doesn't tell us that? That was where my brain was going when we were coming upon Frederick, and how we would recognize him, and what's going to happen when we save people and all that stuff. So that just opened
a whole new can of worms.
Yeah, fresh worms.
Yep. Yeah, it's gonna be a wild ride. It's gonna be really interesting.
Yeah.
Should we listen to some reactions from some other Malevolent fans?
Let's do that.
We got a lot of voice submissions, which is impressive because we moved Autopsy from Friday to Monday and said, you have about, 10 hours to submit your voice recordings. Good job, everybody.
I was very impressed when I opened this folder and our notes, and I was like, how many fucking voice messages did you cram into here, guys? You did not have that much time. I'm very impressed. So let's listen to our first one.
Hi, my name is Phoenix. My pronouns are they, them, and I don't really have specific commentary to share for this episode, so I'm just gonna share some highlights from my live reaction. Pick and choose your favorites if you really want to. This is probably gonna be over a minute long, so yeah. So I'm just gonna start this off by saying I've had a bit to drink. You ever have those tiny mason jars of Old Smoky moonshine? This is gonna be my fifth. Oh shit, it's a car! It's a really fucked up car. A spider car. Maybe it's friendly. Go on, touch it. It won't bite. Oh no! Oh, we gotta go! We gotta fucking go, boy! I can't help it. It's so beautiful. It's a bug's life for all you bug heads out there. The bone throne! Always with Faust. I mean, get over it. You ain't one guy. Like, move on. Use your words. Or not. God damn it, Harlan. Quit edging me along the precipice of climax of the story. Yes, I love a good... Yes, Arthur! Fucking slay, Arthur! To the right of the door. Take it back now, y'all. Used to square dance in a barn to that one. That's not a joke. Ohio's a weird place. Take him? Oh, like in a fight. What the fuck is a trench knife? Someone email me. Someone email me. What a trench knife is. I've gotta know how John knew.
How did you know? How did you know?
That's what I'm saying.
But we had to try.
Wait, is that's what I said? That's what I said 2 weeks ago. Oh, Freddy, buddy. You're in hell. Freddy Fish.
No.
To all my, point and click adventure heads out there. Arthur gay-ass Lester, give this man a hug. Oh my god.
We've entered a small room with clothes.
Our dick is protected!
Phoenix, that was fucking killer. I love that submission. Thank you so fucking much. I love you. You're great.
I don't even know how to pick my favorite reaction, but I have to say,
Spider Car is high up there for me.
you stuck the landing with our dick is protected.
Fucking both hands in the air the minute that I realized Arthur was getting boots. I was so fucking ready.
Yes. Arthur has clothes. Lester is real now.
I love it. Fantastic. Thank you again so much for the submission. Shall we listen to another?
Yeah, we got another really cute reaction submission. We should listen to that one next.
I love this.
What do you think about the new Malevolent chapter? Yeah? Oh, okay.
Oh my god. That was so cute.
That is Milk with their cat TinTin.
Oh, thank you, TinTin.
Milk wasn't able to stay for the show, but they were one of the first people who sent me a voice submission. They were like, can I ask my cat what they thought of the chapter and be silly? I was like, as long as it's less than a minute and a half, sure.
Yeah, I don't care. That's great. I love that.
Yeah, I thought it was very cute.
Oh, adorable. Cats of Malevolent, rise up. Shall we listen to another?
Yes, we have some more voice submissions that get into some more opinions and the meat of the chapter.
Hello, my name is Nukuome. My pronouns are he, it. Now, first off, the lamp creature, and specifically the way that John describes it, and the way that he's enraptured with the inside, it really reminded me of the various machines from the movie 9, which is really awesome if you haven't seen it, and especially like the many middle spindly legs, the grotesque nature of it, and that's just a staple of all those movies' creatures. And hey, one of them is actually made of skin as well, so for even further similarities. Now, secondly, what else did John do when he was in the Dark World? Like, hunting and killing the masses until he had his own bone thrown in a citadel is really bad, but there's something else he's not telling Arthur, and it's why he never told him about the Dark World in the first place. And the only thing that would make sense to me is that it related to Arthur. Either him directly, his past, someone in his past, something like that. It's something that he knows might, or even would be unforgivable to Arthur. That's the only thing that would make sense to me. And I don't have much to say, but I guess last note, I really liked how the sound of the gunshot was delayed with the actual impact of the bullet. It was just pitch perfect, chef's kiss.
Thank you, Nukuoma. Yeah, I didn't really think about it, but the gunshot, the timing was so good. I miss the butcher so much.
Yeah, the sense of distance was really good with the sound effects with the bullets. But more importantly, Nukuome, you are so right. That was also my first instinct when John was trying to prepare Arthur for like the worst of the worst and like why he kept these dark secrets. I figured it has to have something to do with Arthur. I think last week when we live listened after last week's autopsy, I think I said something about how like I thought that maybe there was like a Dark World Arthur and John and this Dark World Arthur did some like fucked up shit or something. I don't know.
Yeah, very possible. I'm excited to talk about those predictions. Have you seen the movie that was referenced in this audio submission? Because I think I have, but it was a very long time ago.
I think I also have, but it was also a very long time ago. The movie is 9, and it's just the number 9. If you look up the word 9, it pulls up a totally different movie.
Yeah.
But the aesthetic is very interesting and has been echoed in some video games over the past, like, 10, 15 years, where the main character is, like, a small, like, sack puppet, like, canvasy kind of doll, and they're in this, like, scary, big world where scary shit is coming after them, be it in 9 specifically, it's these like mechanical monsters, these mechanical creatures. In some of the other games that have a similar aesthetic, it's a variety of things, but
yeah, I really liked that.
It's a really cool looking movie. I need to go back and watch that again.
All I remember is that the ending made me cry, and I thought, which is not a hard, to be clear, it's not a high bar to clear. A lot of things make
Yeah,
me
I was
cry.
gonna say.
But it made me cry, and it was very, like, it was not a very straightforward ending, is what I remember.
And I know you hate those.
Yeah.
You do not like an ambiguous ending.
Yeah, which is a whole other can of worms, but fresh worms. But I think that the animation style and the look of it was so evocative that I never truly forgot how it felt like things were textured in my brain, if that makes sense. And that is very much the vibe of the Dark World to me. Things have a lot of texture here.
Yeah, for sure.
Shall we listen to another note?
Let's do.
Hi, this is Misraa, pronoun she, they, and I love seeing the growth John displayed in this chapter compared to when Arthur and John were in a different supernatural world with no clear way home. In Season 2, John was very against seeking any help or trying to befriend anyone in the Dreamlands, with him even saying everything was their enemy. And when Arthur tried to argue that they may miss a chance at help by being overly cautious, John said then it'd be a missed chance, but they'd still be alive. And yet here, when John recognized Frederick, he didn't hesitate to tell Arthur to forget going for the knife, but instead use the lighter on him. He even says later he wasn't sure if the lighter would work, but they had to try. The fact, too, that Marie wasn't someone that John had really bonded with personally, unlike Noel, but knew she was someone that meant a lot to Arthur, he wanted to take the risk to try helping him. Also, as lovely as that meeting with Frederick was, he interrupted John from finally talking about his time in the Dark World. What was he going to say that he feels that Arthur still wouldn't be able to forgive him for? I am so excited and nervous for what that reveal from John could be like, and if Arthur's talk of forgiving him for whatever he's done will still hold up even against whatever this is.
Thank you so much, Misraa. I always love having you submit, like, you're not an editor forced to listen to me talk for hours and hours and hours.
Yes, it's always lovely to hear from some of the people behind the scenes. And I think that everyone is echoing the sentiment of, like, God damn it, Frederick, you interrupted our lore drop. No.
Heartfelt conversation, inconvenient time.
Yes. But I completely agree with you, Misraa. I think it's really cool to see, especially comparing it to Season 2, which has a lot of potential similarities or parallels to Season 6 as far as, like, setting and stakes and what they might encounter. And you know what this means? We finally have John on our side about befriending everything.
Oh my god.
Yeah, so it's like both Arthur and John can be stupid about trying to be friends with everything. Isn't that great?
I have a feeling that is going to get real quickly. I think they've decided to come onto the right side of that argument at the wrong time.
Right.
I'm so sorry to interrupt the flow of Autopsy, but Joy needs to use the bathroom and I must accompany her.
Ah, yes.
And she will not wait. So I just need like 2 minutes, guys. I'm so sorry. Get some water.
It's totally okay. Joy really is the star of the show, the prima donna, the producer, if you will. Her needs are very important. Hi, chat. Just you and me now. Oh, I've been recording all of this while Queen's AFK. Good, it'll be immortalized. Away from keyboard, Luna. That's what AFK means.
I'm back.
Welcome back.
Thank
Queen
you.
is no longer AFK.
I am back.
Are you doing a bit, or have you really never heard AFK before?
Oh, I think
Really?
Luna's just out of touch. I think people still say that. So, let's listen to another voice message, shall we?
Let's do.
Hello, this is Luna Maria, she, they pronouns. I am writing in or calling in about the latest chapter. So, obviously, this chapter devastated me twice. Firstly, when John got cut off from saying, I have to explain something to you, I don't know how. And then fucking Frederick. Frederick, I love you now. I do. You were very tender, but you just, what was going to happen? This is like the third time Harlan's pulled one of these on us where he'll be like, John is about to say something and then he gets cut off. And it is my new Roman Empire. It lives in my head rent free. I don't know any peace, and I will not know any peace until we get the answer. But anyway, Frederick was lovely, absolutely amazing. Grabbed us by the hearts. We were all like, oh my God, it's gonna be the butcher, it's gonna be Parker. Boom, Frederick. What a great soft launch into what we could be expecting in the dark world and how it brings up emotions in John and Arthur. And oh my God, John was the one to be the one to say, oh, let's be tender, let's try to save it. Oh my God, John has come so far, and that was just such a beautiful moment. It really it got to me. I was freaking out before we even knew it was Frederick. I was like, "Oh my God, I can't believe John's the one getting emotional." After just the contrast between this and season 2, I urge people to go back and re-listen when John's like, "Don't trust anything, don't trust any animals." And now he's like, "Wait, wait, wait, we gotta save." Beautiful.
Thank you, Luna Maria. I know we have a part 2 to your submission, and I am earnestly looking forward to it.
But speaking of getting cut off, I had to cut Luna's.
Yeah, I want to just mention, like, we have got to host some kind of special episode where everybody submits their best John impressions, because I heard Luna go into like half of a John right there, and it was actually really good. And I want to hear everybody's best like Johns and Arthurs and stuff. I think that would make for a fun special episode.
That would be very funny. That would be very funny. We should totally do that.
Yeah. But yeah, I agree. I think everyone's going a little nuts over what John could not say. Shall we listen to another?
Let's do.
Hello, my name is Pan. I use he, they pronouns. This episode was fantastic in many ways, but one part stuck out to me. Obviously, this is a very emotional episode. We get a call back to season 4 with Marie and her son, Frederick, who was lost in World War I. And there's one part that really stuck out to me, and I wanted to call attention to it, and I'm sure that others are going to as well. But it's the part where Arthur is talking to Frederick, and Frederick says to him, the war will always be with him, pretty much. And I thought that was something that really stuck out to me for such an emotional episode, and also such a scary episode just through all the chapters we've experienced. That part in particular stuck out to me. And I think going forward, we're really going to see that what the manager told us, that some people can be saved and some people can't. And this was our first real glimpse of that. So, thank you.
Thank you, Chef. It's always an honor.
Yeah, Pan, oh my God. There were so many really amazing lines, and if we had more time on this episode of Autopsy, I would have gone over a bunch of the like really incredible one-liners, but I will never leave the war will never leave me. Hit me square in the chest. Not only because I am so both fascinated and horrified by soldiers' PTSD in general, but also specifically about the themes of PTSD in Malevolent.
Yeah.
Like, you know, we never really get to hear about it, but Charlie Dowd not only has not only has PTSD from the Dreamlands and being stuck with the king, but also he was in World War I. He was a soldier, and I find it really interesting the way that Harlan framed that in this part of the dark world that is just called like the war, you know?
Yeah. I just can't believe that he went through so much.
I know.
Okay, sorry, continue.
But also, it stood out to me, and I know it stood out to a few other people who are chiming in the chat. Arthur calls it the Great War. And I really, really love that Harlan used that term, because The reason, do you know why it was called the Great War, Queen?
I do not.
It was called the Great War because they didn't think they were going to ever have a war that bad ever again.
Yeah, I figured. I mean, one could
Yeah.
guess why they called it the Great War, but one also
Yeah.
wishes they were wrong.
Yeah, so the only reason that we call it World War I today, they never called it that back then. The only reason they had to differentiate is because we had a World War II.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a fucking bummer.
Yeah, sorry, that's a bummer, but it's also like an interesting history fact.
No,
And
it is.
I did really like that Harlan called it the Great War. I don't think that people would have been crazy jarred if he had called it World War I.
No.
But I think it feels so much more in the time period that Arthur and Frederick lived in for them to use the Great War as
You know,
the name for it.
logically, I knew they wouldn't have called it World War I at the time because there hasn't been a II yet. But
yeah,
I guess I never really put together the fact that they wouldn't probably have even called it like a world war. Like it really wouldn't have been. I'm sure it wasn't. Like I'm sure that some people did, but my point is, I guess it's very. First of all, I appreciate that he used that title as well because it is very familiar to me as far as reading about people in that time period and what they were, the terminology they were using. And we don't get to see a lot of that in Malevolent, like to an excess, which I'm actually usually grateful for because I think a lot can get lost in the jargon. And if you have to explain too much to readers about like, that's what this is, that's what that means, it becomes too messy, and that's not the point of Malevolent. It's not meant to be a historical piece, so I appreciate that it's not super liberally used, but that does mean that little things like this remind you that Arthur has yet to see things like World War II
or cassette players, okay? You know, like, it's not all bad.
Yeah, or, you know, or gay marriage, stuff like that. Right. So, I mean, I think that was a great touch, but I also appreciated that the horrors of war were not so deeply romanticized here, because that can tend to be a really easy trap to fall into. No, things were fucking gross and terrible the entire time, and there was no part of this that felt like dreamy, which I know sounds weird because who makes...
No, I know what you mean though. I know what you mean though, because there's like kind of like two kinds of war media. There is the glorification of the, you know, patriotism, the romanticism of the, like, you know, pure masculinity and the hero and all of that. And then on the other side, you've got the horrors of war, where it is awful. And those two extremes are the reasons that I usually don't engage with war media.
Yeah.
That's one of my biggest no-goes. I do not watch war films. They don't interest me. I barely even enjoy war documentaries. If I'm going to be researching about the war, I'm going to be doing it on text only. I can read about the horrors, but I don't want to visualize it. It's very upsetting to me.
Yeah.
And so I agree that I like that this felt like a very real portrayal of a soldier stuck in a sort of PTSD loop almost. At least that was the vibe that I got. But it wasn't so horrific that it like turned my stomach, nor was it a glorification of the sort of, you know, masculine ideal or whatever. Obviously, Harlan would not go that route, but still, when you compare it to other sort of like portrayals of soldiers in war and things like that.
Yeah, I want to point out this comment that Pan made because Pan says, it makes me think about a fic I read once where people kept thanking Arthur when they saw his scars because they thought he had been a soldier in the war, and the imposter syndrome he felt taking the gratitude because he couldn't explain to them why he really had his scars. And I've seen that too. I've also been party to writing some of that and watching others write some of that. And I really like how Malevolent has encouraged people to engage with the concept of like things like survivor's guilt and PTSD and war media, and I've seen people handle it really, really well in a way that I think it other fandoms might struggle with. And so I just wanted to shout out, like, that's a very well thought out and creative idea. And I think that's one of the things that people in this fandom are uniquely positioned to do. Is I was thinking about the fact that, like, Frederick says, you can't leave hell or something like that. He calls this place hell. And by contrast, John starts out this season saying it's not hell. And he distinctly, I think, wanted to differentiate the unique awful that is apathy, which is like Lovecraftian horror, where this place isn't out to get you. It's just awful. There is no, you are incidental.
Yes, you are insignificant. It does not care about you, but it is inhospitable. It is hostile towards your very existence.
Yeah, and I think in so many ways that, you know, that this picture of hell that I think Roman Catholicism is so largely responsible for, being like a personalized version of punishment, uniquely suited to you for all the bad things you've done. The Dark World is not that. It is, for some, and in some people's opinions probably, worse because it doesn't care about you. It doesn't have any feeling about you, which I think for humans is really hard.
Yes.
I think Frederick's interpretation of you can't leave hell, boy, was very, like, for me, it gave me a sense of everybody's going to interpret this place differently. And John's unique perspective, having been here as a fragment of a god before, I think is going to start coming up more and more. I think John may be able to help us navigate that a little bit better, because I do think Arthur is going to have more moments of that, like, I can't let this place win. By the way, that was also another really good moment.
Yes. I'm so glad that you stumbled upon that and brought that up, because I love that it was this moment where, you know, Arthur is like, I can't. And usually when he says that, when he reaches a breaking point like that, John does have to be the one to be like, you can do it. But this time Arthur was like, no, that's not what I'm saying.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is, I can't let this place win. And I was like, fuck yeah, Arthur, let's go. Let's go.
I really appreciated that Arthur didn't have a complete meltdown and he didn't have to be brought back up again, because we're still so early on in this journey. And it's only going to get worse.
Come on, Arthur.
But I appreciated that the clarification was, it's not that I don't think I can do it and that I'm not going to do it and that I am you know, freaked out about that. It's that I have to steel myself over and over and over again. And that takes a lot. Just because you haven't given up yet doesn't mean it doesn't take a lot of effort to pull yourself back up that is going to be visible to John. It's going to be hard, I think, for both of them to exist here. But I think for John to watch Arthur go through it all.
Yeah.
Shall we get to this second part?
Yeah, we were talking about soldiers, and we should listen to the second half of Luna Maria's over the 90-second mark message.
Let's do.
Secondly, my heart was broken because Arthur put clothes on, and my dream of him being naked all season was crushed. However, I got excited once I realized there's something really cool going on here, that he went from nude and portrayed in an animalistic light, like running with the naked men, being compared to rats and animals, killing very savagely, to putting on a soldier's uniform, which is kind of like a step up in terms of humanity and violence and compassion. But it's almost like he's kind of climbing up maybe each episode through these ranks of humanity and human compassion and human connection, because soldiers are known for being very dehumanized and detached from all of those things. So I wonder if that's going to be a theme this season, where each episode they either move closer to that kind of really grounded humanity and identity, or move back. So really cool, amazing first episode. Wow.
Thank you, Luna Maria. And as always, my gift is your demise, because I was so fucking happy this dude got clothes.
I could have just cut off Luna Maria's message where I left it on the first one, but I thought it was fucking hilarious that Luna was disappointed that this man got clothes.
I can't. Why would you want him to be naked the whole time, you nasty? That's so painful and humiliating and uncomfortable. And his fucking...
Yes, no, Luna's in the chat and says because of the symbolism, and I completely agree.
I'm giving you the biggest suspicious face I can muster right now. I just want you to know that.
The symbolism of that level of vulnerability in this hostile environment, being naked and not having even pockets to put things in, I totally get it. And I think I was not expecting Luna to go from, man, I'm really disappointed that Arthur's not going to be naked all season, to making this really poignant point about the symbolism of the specifically soldiers' clothing. I just thought that was a really interesting point and detail to notice.
All I noticed is that man got boots.
He do got boots. And a gas mask, which...
Look, I just...
Not sure about it.
Yeah, naked symbolism. But I got that in the first part of Malevolent, the first chapter, okay? He could have gotten clothes after that and the symbolism still would have landed, all right?
But then he wouldn't have injured his dick, canonically.
First of all, we have no evidence. We have no evidence. But I will say that I do think it's cool to use everything you have access to in the narrative to tell this cohesive story. And I do appreciate that we're at least informed when he does and does not have clothing on. I wish we would have gotten a beautiful description of a hyper-detailed three-piece suit, but we didn't. And so I guess maybe I'm just a little bit bitter about how we get all this focus on him being naked, but no one wants to describe a beautiful 1930s suit for me, personally.
But, well, I mean, he's in his speed suit era. Let's not get carried away. It's not a three-piece suit.
Okay, well, we don't have evidence that it wasn't a three-piece suit. I think that...
Okay, sure.
It's my life, and I'm going to believe what I want to believe. Somebody did point out, I think it was Faye, because it's always Faye when it's heartbreaking, or very sweet and comforting. The suit, knowing how small and, like, thin Arthur has become, and hearing that the suit was too small on him, made them realize that it was made for somebody smaller, and how sad that is, and the realization of, like, it's probably for somebody much younger than Arthur, and
it's probably for a teenager.
Yeah, and, like, the reality and weight of that, and Arthur having to get into those clothes, like, there is just no part of the situation that can even be comforting for him. Like, he's grateful for the clothing, and he even says thank God, which I was like, I'm right there with you.
Yeah,
Dad.
I thought that was funny.
Oh, it was so good. Yeah. And I have to wonder, like, how Frederick, you know, was like, I guess I'll give him privacy, even though we definitely were just like on the ground scrappling around.
No. I'm sure that Frederick is super used to really fucked up naked guys. I mean, that seems to be par for the course of the dark world that we've experienced thus far.
Yeah, I agree. I think that makes sense. I think the best way to close out this episode of Autopsy is with some predictions about what we think John did.
Yeah. Okay. Lightning round.
I would like to first posit Autumn's prediction, which is...
Oh, yeah.
This one, I'm going to read this message out loud. I didn't have time to submit a voice message, but if I did, it would have been about how I'm convinced John killed hundreds upon thousands of alternate Arthurs. The deepest betrayal is finding out your other half will kill you over and over to get you back. The John Kane parallels continue. Also consider, while Arthur was damaging Yellow emotionally in his desperation to get his John back, John was physically killing countless Arthurs to try and return to him, which is kind of a flipping of the tables here, since John is supposed to be the manipulative one, and Arthur has shown to be extremely violent when he needs to be. I think that's very, very cool and very poignant, Autumn. Thank you so much, and I desperately hope you're wrong.
That's really, really good. I like that, yeah.
As Val and I are talking, I would love to encourage you guys in the chat to type up the quickest, most brief and straightforward explanation of what you think John is keeping from Arthur.
Queen, do you have any thoughts, predictions, ideas?
Right now, I mean, I could probably sit here and come up with 50. So I don't want to say I'm like putting all my eggs in one basket. But I do think that it's going to be something that is like So what made me really think about all of the potential theories I had before this chapter was when John says he doesn't really know how to explain it to Arthur, which means it's got to be something more complicated than, like, I had the opportunity to save Faroe and I didn't. Or it's going to be a little bit convoluted and maybe difficult for Arthur to wrap his brain around. Either that, or it's going to be something where John is really good at rationalizing it for himself, and it's really straightforward for Arthur, and so he's trying to, like, backwards engineer, like, you don't understand, it wasn't like that kind of thing.
Right.
And so right now, I think that maybe John is keeping the fact that he has had, like, he had some kind of, I don't want to say foresight or, like, foreknowledge, because I don't think he could have predicted a lot of what's happened, but I do think that there is a chance that he had an opportunity to make life better for Arthur in some way, and he did not take it. Like, the potential for what Cain might have offered him and the things that John actually turned down in favor of leaving the dark world, or maybe it's the fact that, you know, Cain's like, I can make it like you guys never met, and Arthur gets to live a normal ass life and you get to be in someone else's eyes, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And that might make the maybe I should never have opened that book hit a little bit harder for John.
Oh, yeah.
That's one of my theories right now.
That's an interesting angle, that John might not have agreed to certain terms of Cain's deal over the time that he was in the dark world.
Yeah.
And had, like, selfishly chosen not to take a deal that would be better for Arthur. Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah. What about you?
Oh, no, I don't know.
Oh, no.
I'm trying to come up with something cool and unique and interesting, but my brain's just like, something to do with Arthur. That's why he can't talk about it. But what does that even mean, Vol? Like, what does that mean?
Well, if you want to think about it after we talk about some of these theories I'm seeing in the chat, and then maybe you'll have something concrete. But Ajax says maybe John found Faroe in the dark world and didn't help her, which I've seen before too, and I think that's very ow.
Evocative.
Yeah.
Nukuome says, likely Faroe related, but definitely is something he knows Arthur would never forgive him for.
Oh, yeah. Moss says, John helped kill Cain/Niars because time is funky in the dark world, so maybe he had a role in the Nyarlathotep extinction. Complicated enough to be hard to explain. Ooh,
that's
if John
a cool
helped
idea.
Kill other Cains, that would be very cool.
Ooh. I love that you were able to pronounce Nyarlathotep clearly, and then you stumbled on extinction.
Yeah, well, because I thought it was execution, and so my ADHD brain has decided that it knows words before I'm done reading them. So.
No, I just was genuinely impressed at how smoothly it rolled off your tongue. It wasn't even fully written out. I can barely do that.
Misraa says, my worry is it is related to Faroe. John would know that it is one of the only things he could do, which would be completely unforgivable to Arthur. And the way in part 26 where John is very sure as he tells Arthur that Faroe wouldn't want Arthur to die. You don't know that. I do. Ooh, that's a good pull, Misraa.
Ooh, more breadcrumbs, more plantlings.
Oh, man. I hope it's not anything related to Faroe, but I have a feeling it will be. She's come up so many times already.
Luna Maria says, it's actually something really nice he wants to tell Arthur. John's just shy. I like that. Thanks, Luna.
Hydra says, I low-key wanted to be something related to how Arthur was born. Like John ensured that Arthur's parents died so that he could exist or something weird. He notes how Arthur is tiny. I want it to be cyclical somehow. I do think it would be cool if it tied into Arthur's birth or his parents.
We do not talk about the time loop.
The time loop isn't real.
Fear of Time says, I have no conception of what John did, but I think it is connected to Arthur's life somehow. Be that having something to do with him or someone else from Arthur's life. But I have zero idea. All I know is I'm going to sob over it in the future. Same, Seer, same.
Ajax has a fake quote that They're making up, I'll make sure Artie gets his daughter back, never has his life ruined by you, and you stay here. So maybe Kane was like, you have to stay in the dark world, but I'll fix Arthur's life. And John was like, fuck no. I want out.
Yeah.
I could see that.
Good theories. I like a lot of the theories that are a little bit broader than just having to do with Arthur, although I'm curious. I mean, that's my first thought, but I do like the idea that John actually worked with Kane.
I think that's my favorite one so far, as like plausible things that I think could have really happened, because I could also see John being like, well, I didn't know that he was gonna try and like remake the world. I didn't know how was I supposed to know what he wanted to do? Because that's why I figured I had to help him, because I wanted to get out, and he, I didn't know how it was going to be that bad. And Arthur's like, motherfucker. Like, I could totally see that.
This is all your fault.
Yeah. So interesting. I'm very excited. I would love to have another check-in with you guys in the middle of the season and see what if we've changed our minds, if we know by that point or what. So let's definitely do that.
Yeah, I am really interested to see how long it's going to be until we finally get that John's Dark World Crimes lore drop. Juicy. Very juicy.
Well, Vol, it's that time.
There's no vote.
It isn't. There's no vote. So we're done here, and I'm going to go back to my all black veil and mourning period. So everybody, thank you so much for coming tonight. I had so much fun with everybody. Your submissions were fantastic, especially being for so last minute. Thank you. The horrors persist.
But so do we.
Thanks, everybody. Have a great night. Thank you, of course, to Harlan Guthrie, the sole creator of Malevolent. Without his labor of love for a story he wants to tell, we wouldn't be here. To join the live recording, submit your own message, get in touch with me, and more, visit linktree/Malevolent Autopsy. The official Invictus Discord server is open to the public and includes a channel just for Malevolent Autopsy fans. We also have our own private, patrons-only channel. Finally, thank you to Misraa, Nikki, Vol Control, and everyone who has helped create and maintain Malevolent Autopsy. These friends are also volunteers who donate time and energy to help put together this love letter to Malevolent.